You're locked into the Dare to Be Great podcast with Manny D. Rosa. Now let's walk this journey together.
What's up, my greats? How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to another episode of the Dare to Be Great podcast. Hope everybody's being productive out there. Crazy week. Big shout out to the homie Tick Morales. I spoke about him on this podcast before. Close childhood friend of mine, videographer, independent filmmaker, working on an independent film right now. And it was just awesome to see the process. I was there during casting, there during rehearsals, there during logistics and getting locations and all of that stuff, and production meetings and budget and rehearsals, and being on set, watching the film being shot, just watching the baby being born and the whole process. Over a year now at the tail end of the editing process. I think there's a couple of scenes that need to be shot just to pop in here and there. More than 80% of the film is edited, just being part of that whole process. And this week, Tick was sending me a couple of scenes that he had just finished editing, and just to see the finished product in certain scenes and just being part of that whole excitement. That's just awesome to see. So shout to Tick. He's trying to get this done. That doing a movie is not like shooting a music video and shit. Like, that's a long process. Like, you have to talk about level of dedication with many moving parts and many people involved and all of that stuff. So shout to Tick. I've been watching him edit for years now, and we've co-directed stuff before in the past, and I still get amazed at his freaking work. He never ceases to amaze me. I just wanted to say that here. He never ceases to amaze me. Like, I've been on set with him, and we'll shoot a scene, and I'm real good at like coming up with shots and this angle, that angle, and coming up with ideas for dope, and I got the edits in my head. But I've always said, and I've said it to him before, where he's really, really good at shooting and being a director on set, but his superpower is editing. Like, sometimes we shot something together, and then he'll go back in the lab and edit it and send me the draft, and I'm like, wait, what? How'd you get that from that? Like, his just another level of creativity, like on a whole nother. Trust me. So I'm just really proud to be able to see a few scenes and be part of the excitement of like the seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and trying to watch him like seeing the finish line right there, and him putting in the work to try to get it done and all of that stuff, and seeing the different scenes along the way that are finished, and it's just exciting and shit. I just thought I'd bring that up and shit. Shout out to Tick, my brother Tick. What else this week? I know this is not that type of podcast, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Go Knicks. Shout out to all my people in New York, and I can't even say my people from New York, but Knicks fans are global. So shout out to all the Knicks fans worldwide. Y'all know this is a long time coming, just to be back in the playoffs and fourth seed, home court advantage, playing against a team that we didn't lose to all season. So that's I wanted to put that out there. I almost did the podcast, for those of you who are watching this podcast on YouTube, I started to have the fitteds and the be in total full gear, have my good luck Nick towel out that John Starks gave me years ago, and be all decked out in Nick gear, because us Nick fans, we could overreact to some shit. So I had to pull back the reins and let me stay focused on what I'm doing here. But yeah, go Knicks and shit. So it's an exciting time for that and shit. Let me get to what I wanted to talk about today. Let me get a sip of this caffeine and shit. Creatives. And I don't want to sound like I'm venting. I'm really just trying to pass the knowledge on for those who need to hear certain messages and certain things that I'm seeing and certain things I've learned along the way and stuff like that. But I come across this a lot. It doesn't, like, if you know me and you're a producer and you be around me, like, I'm a full advocate of getting your business in order. I can't be no blunt about it. Like, a lot of us just, like my engineer, like D-Track says, we just out here doing weed sales. I know I'm not trying to offend nobody, but yeah, like that's how we treating it. We're not trying to operate businesses out here. We're just trying to take. I know somebody that, sold a bunch of beats and he was happy. He was ecstatic. Yo, first time I sold beats online, and I think he made like $200 in one day and shit. Like, first time ever selling beats online. He amped, called me and and then ran out and bought some sneakers and shit. Like, that was his priority and shit. Like, and I was, I was excited for him, happy. And then he told me the next day, yo, I ran out and I bought these kicks. And I'm like, so you felt no need to invest some of that back into what you're doing. Like, the sneakers was the priority and shit. Like, we just, and I feel like the problem is we don't look at ourselves as businesses. Like, I run a business. I'll be straight up. I run a business. Couple, if you want to be frank and shit, but I run a business. I'm a business owner and shit. I'm the proud owner of a couple of LLCs and shit. So we really, and I think that's where it starts. Like, we're not really looking at ourselves as businesses. So how the hell could we look at operating as such? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us like dabbling, especially artists. I see a lot of independent, a lot of up and coming artists like dabble in being an artist. And I've those who are around me know I've preached this plenty of times and shit. I think it's even, I talk about it at length on my vlog. Nobody successful at what they do, no successful person in any arena dabbled at what they do to get successful. Like, you can't be half-assing it. And if you're an artist and you look at yourself as a business, you're going to be putting in work 7 days a week to try to do what you do for a living. Like, it's just that simple. Like, look at businesses in your neighborhood and shit. The grocery store, La Bodega, on the corner. Papi's not there opening shop Monday, Wednesday, and every other Saturday. No, Papi's there with the cat sleeping on the bread 7 days a week because he got expenses to cover and he got, profits to be made and a family to take care of, bills at home and bills at the store, and he's there from opening to closing, running his business, ordering product, like everything, trips to the bank, bookkeeping, the whole nine and shit. Like, that's how we need to start looking at ourselves. Like, yo, I'm a business, man. Anyway, I couldn't help myself. But like me, I could speak from personal experience. I work 7 days a week. There's no question about it. I'm running some facet of my business. I have a daily to-do list. Every day I wake up, I know exactly what needs to be done that day. And I bust my ass to get it done. And if it doesn't get done, then the next day I'm putting in double time and shit. I did this and that yesterday, and I didn't have time to do this, but I'm gonna make sure as soon as I'm at it again the next day, I get that done out of the way. So yesterday's to-do list is done, and I start on today's to-do list. Like, every day, if you run a business, every day there's something to do. And that's how we have to look at being a producer. Like, you own, and I should make this, and we'll get into it at another episode, but like, the steps, because some of y'all maybe just don't know the steps you need to do to get your business in order, establishing an LLC, taking your tax ID number and sitting down at your bank with a small business specialist and opening up a business bank account and just going through that whole process, which, and I get it, like it's kind of intimidating if you don't know nothing about it and shit, but we live in an information age. Anything you need to do, you can find it online, step by step. There's 100 videos for what you need to know. There's 100 videos, 1,000 videos on how to start an LLC and go through that whole process. Like, there's ways that's expensive to do it, and I've done it. I did it. I jumped in and did it one way, and then found out that there's a cheaper way to do it. But yeah, you learn along the way at it. Not knowing how to do it the right way didn't stop me from doing it and shit. And I learned along the way. Some mistakes cost me money and shit, but I got it done and shit. And I just learned. So next time I needed to do it, I did it the right way and shit. So we just need to get over, and I'm not saying everybody, but there's some of us that like fear of the unknown or the intimidation by something we're not too sure about, or we just need to dive in and shit and like figure it out and keep it moving, set up our businesses and operate as such. Some might call me a workaholic. Okay, I might call myself a workaholic. I work 7 days a week. I work a lot of hours. I do a lot of marathon days sometimes to get stuff done. If by chance I take some time to go do some personal stuff or spend time with the family, or just maybe I just worked 7 straight days or 14 straight days and I'm like long days and I feel it catching up to me and I want to take an evening off. It's in my DNA. When I lay down to sleep that night, I'm already stressing like, damn, I didn't get this done today, I didn't get this done today, I didn't get that done today. And I'm literally like, it bothers me. It literally bothers me that I didn't get certain things done. Like there's a little voice in my head that I need to be productive every day. It's just, I don't know if it's part of my DNA. I don't know, maybe I need to sit down with a therapist one day and figure out why that is. Maybe I grew up poor and I never want to revert to that life anymore, that I insist on busting my ass not to be poor or whatever. I'm not going to try to explain it here, but whatever it is, there's something in my DNA that I have to be productive every day. And if there's, and I'm not saying a full day off. Like there's times I'll take an evening off, and like in the back of my head, it bothers me. Like that's how you should feel. It should bother you. Damn, I didn't get this done today. I could have got that done today. And every single time, and I give myself maybe 5 days off a year, and it just works out that way. It's never planned. Like I wake up in the morning and mentally and physically I'm just shot because I've been going hard. And I would like, years ago, I've put myself in the hospital just from pushing myself too much and not listening to my body and shit. But, as I got older, I wake up some days and I'm like, my body's talking to me, and I'm like, nah, you need to sit your ass down somewhere and shit. shit is off today and shit. So, and I'll give myself the day off and shit just to kind of relax and take a few naps during the day and watch a couple movies and just chill and shit for one day, and then I'm back at it. And it bothers me that I took the day off. Trust me, it bothers me. Like I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, I wake up the next day, recharged and out the gate, and I'm doubling up trying to make up for lost time, what I didn't do yesterday and shit. There's just a voice in my head that like I have to be productive every day. And it's important to me, and I won't get into my why. We can discuss your why. You have to figure out what your why is. My why is real important to me. So I hold myself accountable. Like people say, oh, you working on this? I say, yeah, I have to if somebody invites me out, no, I have to get this done by tomorrow. So, and they're like, oh, you got a deadline? Yeah, like, who gave you the deadline? They're like, no, I gave myself the deadline. I gave myself 5 days to complete this task and shit, so I have to be done by tomorrow and shit. And they're looking like, come on, you could come out. That is like, no. My self-imposed deadlines are more important to me than any deadline somebody else could give me. And that's the way it should be and shit. Because I hold myself accountable. There's just that level of importance at what I do and what I need to get done and all of that stuff. So, and there's something too, like having a productive day. Like I like to look at myself at the end of the day, look at myself in the mirror and be like, damn, today was productive and shit. Like I genuinely feel good about myself when I got a bunch of stuff accomplished in one day, and I'm like, oh, I got everything on my to-do list checked off. I'm like, yes, today was a good day. Today got everything done today. I genuinely feel accomplished at the end of the day and shit. So that's the type of mindset that we need to have. A lot of y'all in your dabbling, I've seen producers have a game plan, if you want to call it that, and do it for 3 years straight, and it didn't work or move the needle or build any or gain no momentum the first year, and they just want to keep trying, and they're on a treadmill just doing the same thing. Like, dude, that didn't work the first year. Like, I know me, at the end of every year, I'm analyzing what got done and what was good, what was bad, as I go into the next year, and I'm tweaking the plan or setting the new goals and figuring out what the new plan of attack is, the new plan of execution for each goal, long-term goals, short-term goals, and all of that stuff. Like, and I see too many of us, like, I had a producer tell me, yo, this is really hard, and like this whole producer thing, like I feel like I'm on a treadmill, I'm not gaining no traction, and I'm like, okay, I saw when we talked 3 years ago, you was doing this. What have you done since then? Like, what have you? He goes, no, I'm still doing that. What you told me to do that first year, but you didn't look at it and see what was working and what wasn't working, and like, yo, 80% of what you was doing wasn't working, so you just kept doing 100% of that for the next 3 years. Like, we got to start making like educated decisions and looking at numbers and looking at data. And I get this from like my marketing people. Like, all marketing is based on information-based decisions. And that's how we have to, if you're running a business, you don't, and I know us creatives, we on a whim, and especially entrepreneurs, like, we have ideas for different businesses all the time, and let's do this and different, and we're like, at a drop of a dime, we pivoting and we trying this and we launching this and we do. I get that, but what you're doing has to make sense and shit. It has to be like everything I do, and I have, I've generated, I've developed, I should say, and continue to develop, a few streams of income. So they're all related and shit. Somehow indirectly or directly related. Like, it's all in my arena, So what we have to do makes sense. There's some people that I see, they're all over the place. And if you're digging too many holes, it's going to be kind of hard. If you're digging 100 holes, it's kind of hard to strike oil. There's an old story. I'm not going to get into it, but, it's kind of hard to strike oil when you're freaking digging 100 different shallow holes instead of focusing on one hole, digging in one place. Yeah, a lot of producers are still operating with the mindset of 2001. Like, we still waiting for the hookup. We still waiting for somebody to put us on. We still doing like bare minimum, doing this and this, hoping we get noticed by somebody. Like, we in a whole new world right now. And I've been around, I've seen all the phases. We in a whole new world right now where you don't gotta wait for nobody. There's no gatekeepers no more. The industry is what you make it. You could have an idea, and I'm not gonna get into my ideas, but I've come up with an idea. People look at me like, yo, that's never been done before. I'm like, good. I'll be the first one to do it then. Because, we can do whatever the hell we want now without an A&R or somebody telling us, oh, that's not your sound, or that's not the sound for the radio, or that. Like, just create. Like, you know what I'm saying? We still waiting for somebody, but Now you drop an album. I had an artist tell me, yo, I want to get on TikTok and this and that, but I don't know what to do. And I'm like, bro, you're a creative. Just create. It's that simple and shit. Just create. You know, I've talked to people who want to do vlogs. I don't know what to talk. Yo, just document. You do what you do, 5-6 days a week. Just turn on the camera. Let the people see what you're doing and shit. It's that simple and shit. Like, we could just, sometimes I won't get into overanalyzing shit, but we still waiting. Some of us are still waiting, for somebody to come along, and we still waiting for the handout. We still waiting for the hookup. We still wait. Like, what you wait? You're gonna be waiting. You're gonna be waiting a long time. Nobody coming. You develop your own projects. Put out your own album. Shoot your own video. Do your own graphics. Do your own marketing. Do your own social media management. Create your own content to constantly put out. You don't have to, launch a podcast. You don't have to wait on anybody these days to do nothing. There's nobody coming. You gotta we still waiting to get the deal, to get signed, to get noticed. No, you have to build it. You have to start your business and run your business. It's that simple. Every producer knows an artist. I got 100 artists in New York in my phone that I can call to jump on a song. Literally. I'm not even joking and shit. Every producer knows one artist. Go work. Go work. Put out some shit. Do an EP. 5 songs. Put it out. It's that simple. We have to stop waiting for somebody to tell us what to do. Set your yearly goals. Figure out what tools you like. I'm going to do an episode. I want to do an episode and talk about all the different tools that I use to run my business online. Whether it's to do my e-commerce, I have a merch line, whether it's what I use for I have a music publishing entity that I want to show you what I use. I want to talk about what I use to run that and what I have to do to make sure that's working properly. All the different things that I do, but we have to be in the mindset that that's what we need to do and shit. Stop waiting for. I had a producer, and I've talked about him before. I used to mentor. A year, we talked about him putting out a single, and he had the single picked out. He played the song for me. The mix was tight, perfect. And a year later, he still hadn't put out the mix. He still hadn't put out the single. A year later. So when I stopped, we stopped working together, and I'm when I bumped into him one day, we talking. I'm like, yo, how'd that single do? That first single you was talking about last year and shit. He goes, no, I still haven't put it out yet. He was waiting on somebody else to mix for him, and then he's. That guy's taking too long, so he's not satisfied with how he mixes, and and now he's all, my mixes is good, but now I'm getting into master, I'm learning mastering. Yo, dude, upload it to the site and let the site master it for you and put it out. There's too many tools out there for you to be waiting for somebody, and I don't understand what the issue is. He was playing stuff for me that was I'll just say, for lack of a better phrase, radio ready. A year ago. What you waiting on? He's waiting to get better at mixing. If you don't like your mixing, pay somebody to mix for you. It's that simple and shit. You like your mixing, you don't like your mastering, you're not ready to put out stuff, you're not comfortable with how good you are at mastering. Have somebody master for you, or upload it to there's websites out there that you can upload your WAV file and tweak it, press a few clicks and download it mastered. Come on now. We waiting a year to put out a single because, and really what it is just making excuses and procrastinating. That's really what it is when you get down to it. A lot of us, there's always one person that asks. There's always one funny guy in the crowd. Yes, it is coffee in my cup. I'll say it again, like last episode. A lot of us waiting for everything to be perfect. I got news for you. It ain't never gonna be perfect. I posted the other day on social media, like we just waiting for this. I've seen people, I just want to buy this one more piece of gear, then I'll start putting out music. Or like this guy, I will get better at mixing, and then I'll start putting out music. Or I had somebody tell me, if I had all the equipment that you have, I would put out stuff regularly. Like, really? Like, ain't nothing ever, because if you're in the habit of making excuses, when you get that one piece of gear, you'll just think of another excuse. When you get like this guy, he got good at mixing, and then he should have started putting stuff out, and now he's waiting to get good at mastering. And then what's the next thing? And then I don't know how to do graphic design, so I got to learn graphic design so I could do my own covers. And then I got to do this, and then I got to learn that. And then ain't nothing ever gonna be perfect, ever. And if you somebody who's used to making excuses, you always gonna find something that's gonna stop you. You're always gonna find something that's gonna allow you to procrastinate. Like, we need to get out of that this guy telling me because I have a bunch of gear that if he had my gear, he would put out music regularly. Like, stop it. I told him, listen, I know one guy that has a laptop. And I've said this before. One guy, all he has is a laptop. And he puts out fire. His shit is fire. And then I have another friend who literally has about $20,000 of recording gear in his house. And his beats are I've said this before. His beats are They're all right. But there's not nothing like, But he's a gearhead, so he got to have all the latest gear, and so that's a whole nother conversation. But so I told my boy like this: listen, when Kanye West plays beats for Jay-Z, Jay-Z don't give a shit what he made it on. He don't. Just focus on making dope shit. That's all. Focus on making dope shit. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. We need to get, and I posted this on social media also recently, we need to get in the habit of jumping in, learning as we go, and tweaking shit along the way. That needs to be the habit. That really, really needs to be the habit. And I'll tell you a story. I'm always gonna have a story for something. I think every episode you'll hear a couple of stories. Because I want you to understand real life perspective on stuff I'm saying and shit. So you don't know I'm not just pulling stuff out of my ass and shit. A previous production partner of mine was also a DJ, right? And I'm talking about 2005, roughly. And somebody who owned an internet radio station. Back then, internet radio station was a big thing and shit. So this guy who owned the internet radio station reached out to him and told him, yo, we would love for you to be a guest DJ on one of the shows and do a set and blah, blah, blah. And, he agreed to do it. You could do it from wherever you are. We'll give you the information to log in and do it remotely from wherever you are, blah, blah, blah. So cool. They agreed to do it. He agreed to do it. So me and him talking was like, yo, I'm going to bring all my DJ stuff to your house and we could set it up to your stuff and then we'll go from there. And we wanted to incorporate a bunch of other stuff and get footage and pictures and whatever. So long story short, we that day getting ready, all set up that morning actually, and we ready to go, waiting for the time. We grabbing a bite and we all set. These people so didn't know what they're doing. It was one mistake after another and one issue after another. We ended up starting the set a little more than an hour late. It was just dealing with them was like, oh my God, I just wanted to they clueless on how to do this and how to do that. And we're telling them, yo, why don't you do this? Try this. Or why don't we do this? And we're giving them suggestions on how to run their shit. And this is their stuff. We're the guests. So it was just like a stressful day because nothing was going we had flyers passed out. We did our own promotion to promote that he was going to be on this station and whatever, so people could tune in. And we was hoping that we could bring them buzz and probably, you know, have him back or eventually have his own show on that station or whatever. So we went all out and shit. And with them, they didn't make it easy because they were just, you know, I hate to say idiots, but they didn't know what they were doing. Like, if you're going to jump in and do this, then you need to do it. So anyway, got through the set. It was over with. He had a good set. Then it was me, him, and another one of our partners. we had a small business back then that we were doing a couple things and shit. So when it was over, we all sitting in my living room and I'm like, yo, you know, we could so do this, right? So we literally made the decision at that point to launch our own internet radio station. Got on Google, how do we do this? How do we do that? We literally broke night. We were up all night. Decided on a name. We literally grabbed a bunch of post-its and wrote a bunch of ideas, threw it in a pile, and we're reading off. And we said, one of these is the name of the station. We're going to pick a name. And it ended up being a word from this post-it and another word from another post-it that was just laying on the table next to each other. And we're like, yo, this and this together. That's the name of the station. Came up with the name. Went online, bought the domain. I started building the website. Like, we just did it all night. By morning, we launched our own internet radio station. Did we know anything about running an internet radio station? Absolutely not. But you know what? We learned along the way. Because, like, you know, we learned about advertising. We learned about, you know, we had to, like, bring in different DJs to do shows and, you know, recruiting and all of that stuff and putting a schedule together. Who's going to have what time slot. Publishing, like, you know, we playing songs from artists or labels that own publishing to these songs that we're broadcasting. So we had to learn how artists again paid from this publishing from these, you know, songs, the royalties and stuff like that. We had to learn that end of the business. And it was just a learning process. And after a while, we ended up having syndicated shows from DJs from around the country. And like a year later, we had this big thing because we didn't hesitate. We just jumped in, learned, and tweaked shit along the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people, that fear of the unknown and fear of failure is like a real thing to some people, and that stops them. That stops people from taking the next step. Even when me and those few people, we used to do club promoting back then at that same time, and we didn't know. We jumped in. We didn't know nothing about club promoting. We just felt like that's something we could do. Jumped in, started off doing the small local venues, holding 200 people, 250 people, and then you fast forward a year later, now we're doing, you know, we're throwing parties in Virginia Beach and upstate New York and in Jersey and New York and we're flying in talent and booking hotels and you know, buying airline tickets and going to the radio station to do the radio spots and, like, you know, and just, you know, and doing venues that hold 2,000 people. Like, we just jumped in, learned, tweaked shit along the way, and grew the business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that has to be the mindset, because we coming up with too many excuses. I see it over and over and over. We just need to get into that habit of, this is what you really want to do? Stop bullshitting, jump in, do it. You don't know how to do it? Learn how to do it. We live in the information age. You know what I'm saying? So if you're ignorant about something, it's by choice. You want to learn something, there's podcasts on every freaking thing. There's books on everything. There's audio books on everything. There's internet courses, online courses you could take to learn something, like, and all of this stuff I've invested in myself to learn whatever I need to do to run my business. I have an account with Audible. There's never a gap when I'm not listening to an audiobook in the car. When I finish one, I have a wish list. I go to the next one, I read the next one. And guaranteed, there's all business books, marketing books, anything that will add to my skill set to help me run my business. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on online courses over the last 5-6 years. I'm constantly reading books. Like, it's an ongoing learning process, and that's the way it should be, you know? If you put something off, if an opportunity comes your way, and I've seen this, an opportunity comes your way and you procrastinate, there's somebody else that wants that opportunity. So you procrastinate, somebody else is gonna get it because you're wishy-washy. You're, should I do it? Should I not do it? You're coming up with excuses. Damn, this guy called. He wants me to be part of that. I don't know if I'm ready. I'm like, come on, just jump in. Just jump in. This is my message. This is my message today. Jump in. I one time I had an idea for a song, and I had this. I was on the search for this piece of vinyl, this song this record that I wanted to get. And I finally found it, and I had an idea. Damn, if I sample this, I could turn this and flip this, and I had an idea for a beat. I ended up it took me months. I found the beat. The record, the album cost it was rare. It was cost like $50, I think. Got it, and put it in the crate. This was years ago. Put it in the crate with the collection, and I kept saying, "Oh, I'll get to it. I'll get to it." Me thinking like nobody else in the world heard that song, that record. Me thinking like there's no other producer in the world gonna come out with that song, gonna flip that joint on there. I procrastinated so much with jumping in and knocking it out that somebody else chopped up that same song, put it out. It ended up becoming a hit record. You know what I'm saying? And now I spent $50 on something. Now I can't sample that now because somebody else already did it, and it's a known sample now because they did it, and $50 down the drain and wasted vinyl, and it's garbage and shit. I mean, it's good to have it to listen to for the collection, but the idea behind it is no longer exists anymore. So, we need to stop procrastinating. We need to get our business in order. If you don't know how to get your business in order, learn how to get your business in order. I will be talking on this podcast how to get your business. You'll learn that since I'm a huge advocate of us producers getting our business in order, I will be talking about that a lot. So stay tuned. You don't want to. The last thing you want to do is be of older age with regrets, because then you're miserable. So you need to do what you want to do when you want to do it, period. You know what I'm saying? I think that's all. I think I said enough and shit. Another good one in the books. Shout out to all the producers hitting me up on the text. If you don't know, I have a way to reach me. I insist that this dialogue is back and forth. I don't want to just be on here talking to y'all. I want to hear from y'all. So I have a text number. Y'all could text producer to this number, 917-905-5353. That's area code 917-905-5353. Text producer to that number, and then reach out. A lot of y'all reaching out. A couple of y'all reaching out a lot, which is no complaints. I love it. If you want to reach out or you have a question about something I'm talking about on this podcast, holla. I have no problem. I answer. There's nobody else answering those texts but me. I've said it before. I'll say it again. So if you have a question about something I said on an episode of this podcast, feel free, holla. If you have a question about something you want me to talk about in a future podcast, in a future episode, holla. Please feel free. All my producers, if you want to send me what you're working on, you want to ask me what I'm working on, you need some advice on something, business-wise, which being a producer, holla. If I don't have the answer, I'll get you. I know somebody who does. I know several people. I don't claim to be the all-knowing. I have people that I reach out to when I have a question. So feel free to holler. All right. I insist that this is a two-way conversation. All right, people. Let me let y'all go. Y'all be productive. Do what y'all got to do, and let's boogie. All right? That'll be great, people. Peace.